Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for another Suraasa Masterclass. The emphasis on Masterclass today rather than workshop, while I will try and make it interactive, and delighted to see cameras on already. It is an information sharing session, but like any session, it will be wonderful to share any thoughts, ideas as we're going through. There will be opportunity for that, and there will be one or two activities set along the way that you can choose to participate in or not. It's so nice to see so many people return after the last few sessions, masterclasses that we have run. It's nice to see some familiar faces joining us, and it was lovely to receive quite a few messages from people who are returning from previous masterclasses or workshops. So we will begin in a couple of minutes. I know that it is just about time now, but I'll give it 1 minute. Thank you for being prompt. I don't want to take your time. I want to be respectful of your time. So this session, obviously, as the title says, how to build your presence as a teacher on LinkedIn. While we're waiting on one or two people to join us, let me share just a lovely story that happened to me a couple of days ago. I was sitting at the dining room table with my laptop open, a second laptop open next to me, and a phone in hand. And my daughter came in to me and said, "Daddy, why do you need so many gadgets and why are you always on them?" Now, I did laugh at this point, and if anyone knew me personally, they would laugh for two reasons. Firstly, I was delighted that my daughter asked me such a question because it was slightly hypocritical of her, but lovely that she noticed. So now when I go back to her and ask the same question, I have something that we can connect with. And secondly, anyone who knows me from, I suppose, I don't know, the last 10, 15 years, or slightly more personally, would probably, if they were joining, take a second glance to make sure that it was me presenting something about social media. I haven't always been the most active in social media over the years. I certainly was not a trailblazer in Facebook by any stretch of the imagination, but I have thoroughly enjoyed LinkedIn in the last few years. Now, it's not to say that I'm an expert in LinkedIn. I'm not sitting here as an expert in LinkedIn. I am an expert in education, and I have noticed some aspects of how LinkedIn has certainly offered opportunity for teachers over the last couple of years. So it's simply a sharing of those points that I hope you will take something from today. And as said, there'll be opportunity for you to share as well. I forgot the most crucial of questions, but from videos being on, that there are one or two people nodding, so I know I can be heard, but I didn't ask. So first of all, can I ask for as many cameras to be switched on as you dare? I understand that for good reason, many people may not wish to, but if you can switch on, that's wonderful. I think it's great that we can all interact visually as well. And secondly, I'm presuming you can hear me. That was a bit of a schoolboy error. There are one or two nods there, so thank you very much for that indeed. Okay, I think it's about time, so we will get started. Feel free to take screenshots at any point. I'm hoping this is going to be quite a relaxed, interactive session in the sense of networking. You know, so let's see how we go. Let's get started. First of all, on chat, can you just type a number? Now, the number will be on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, I use LinkedIn every single day. Now, when I say I use it, I don't just mean you look at it. I mean you actually post. 0 is you've never used it before. You can gauge yourself somewhere in between. So let's see what's coming up. 3.5. It passed too quickly, so I didn't see who that was, but fantastic. Maybe a mathematician in the room going into the decimal already. Fantastic. What constitutes a 3.5 instead of a 4? I would love to know. Wonderful. Sorry to tease, but I just want to keep it lighthearted, and thank you very much for sharing. So a real spread, actually. Not too many 9s or 10s that I have seen. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Maybe one or two of my Suraasa colleagues can correct me. Miss Aisha has a 9. So lots of so wonderful. Okay. So 1 or 2 9s. So I'm really hoping that you can help me along the way. So delighted that there are a few experts in the room. That's great. Please offer any thoughts as we go along, but quite a few who are not using it too much yet, which is great. So welcome. Just to introduce myself to those who haven't joined us before. My name is Brian Coulter. I'm one of the lead trainers at Suraasa. Whatever position I have occupied in education, I am a teacher at heart, without doubt. So my heart, my head remains in the classroom, very much indeed. I started teaching in the UK. I lived in Hong Kong, and I moved to Dubai 6 years ago. I've occupied middle leadership, senior leadership, inspector, educator positions. And for the last year and few months now, I've been delighted to join colleagues at Suraasa, where and 1 or 2 people know me because you are Suraasa yourself. And I'm delighted to be part of that. And as I said, mainly as a trainer, but certainly always a teacher at heart. Okay, second little question. If you look at the second bullet point, how many members across how many countries? I didn't proofread this well enough. How many members across how many countries? How many members do you think LinkedIn has across how many countries? So if you give 2 numbers on chat, let's be daring and see if we can manage to answer this in 1. So how many members do you think LinkedIn has across how many countries? So if you just put a little dash between the numbers or something, let's see how many you think. Just seen the reply. Yes, indeed. A maths teacher said 3.5. So how many members do you think LinkedIn has across how many countries? Would you care to guess? Okay, we have an unlimited, so we're started. Would anyone? 500 million across 180 countries, 2 million across 40, infinite, countless. It certainly is a lot. It is a lot. Oh, we're getting very close. I don't know if you're Googling this now. Is somebody doing a little bit of research? Was that why there was a pause? I wonder. People are very close, actually. So yes, the latest count, approximately 800 million. There you go. I think Miss Ashra has Googled it. No, I shouldn't be so presumptuous. She knew. So about 800 million members currently across about 200 countries. So about 800 million members across about 200 countries. That's the reach. It is the biggest, the largest professional site that you have available to you. It is indeed a global family. Thank you very much indeed.
Hi.
Hello, sir, please. I'm very happy for anyone who wishes to share anything at any point. Just unmute, be respectful of other people, of course, if we have 2 people talking at once, but happy for anyone to share any thought. Okay, LinkedIn experience so far, you have shared already on a range of 1 to 10. But just now consider that experience and just pause for a second. I will pause for a second. And how would you like to grow on LinkedIn? I mean, do you know what is the ultimate goal? And we will come into this a little bit later. But just consider it for a second. Maybe jot it down if you want. What is your ultimate goal? Do you have a figure of followers in mind? Some people, those maths teachers, mathematically inclined, might have a number of followers that they're aiming for. Why not? It's there. Many people on LinkedIn celebrate once they reach a particular number. You see those celebrations going up. What is your goal? What is the experience that you hope, and what do you hope to gain from LinkedIn? So rhetorical questions at the moment. We will go through some of these points, but something for you to ponder. And lastly, in my brief welcome, don't blame LinkedIn, make it work for you. I'm sorry if that sounds a little harsh, but I have heard and either it is for you or it isn't. But generally speaking, like most of these forums, they are what you make it. You know, the posts that you receive will be manipulated by the type of posts that you're responding to and the followers that you link to. So it really is an experience that is driven by you and your own action. And I hope to take you through some of the actions that will help you to benefit from it as a teacher. The post that you can see, the picture, is nothing about aching. Does anyone know what it actually says? You can type in chat. Yep, networking for exposure, globally connected to make connections, build stronger network with other professionals. Thank you so much for those who are typing your aim, your hope for LinkedIn. Would anyone care to type or share what the screen slide actually says? It isn't aching. Thank you. So comments still coming through on what you hope for, the impact a teacher can make. It personifies nurturing, support and sharing, helping others grow. Super. Better connections. Wonderful. So nobody's coming up to say, maybe it's too obvious, the beauty of teaching. The beauty of teaching is what this post says. And actually, this was my biggest hit. This on my post. So on my own LinkedIn post, this post was the biggest hit in terms of number, in terms of reshare, in terms of views and response. And, you know, I posted it very innocently and quite early in my LinkedIn experience. The beauty of teaching. And of course, I found this. I didn't make this up. I found this somewhere. And I was really struck by the response that I got from this post. We're talking that there were in excess of 30,000, I haven't looked recently, but 30,000 views. There were tens of hundreds of responses and many, many comments. And from this post, I learned a few key lessons of which I'll go through. But not always being too smart or too complicated is needed. And that doesn't always gain the response. Now, some people will talk about a LinkedIn algorithm, and there are professional LinkedIn users who are much more inept than myself. And if there are any with us today, then please share your experience. But there are some key points about this post that I want to share with you. And one of them is certainly sometimes variation, but keeping it simple can be as effective as anything else. Okay, somebody has doodled on my screen. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay, I've cleared your doodle. If you can refrain, I know the excitement is too much for some, clearly. So, key takeaway topics. Actually, this headline is slightly incorrect. It's key topics. The takeaways I'll explain as we are going through. So what I'm going to begin with, and this is the format of the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to begin with personalizing LinkedIn. And I have a little exciting composition to share with you that was just shared with me by Suraasa about 10 minutes ago. Our marketing team never stopped thinking. So personalizing LinkedIn for you. We're then going to look at the following 3 key factors. So we're going to consider LinkedIn through job opportunity, visibility, your visibility online, and global networking. I am hoping to have a short interview today. I'm not too sure if he is here. I sent him a message, but it was a last minute idea. If TJ is in the house, then if he can make himself known to me, that would be absolutely amazing. TJ, if you are here, I won't put you on the spot, but it would be great to see a message from you. So that is the format for today. So let's begin with personalized LinkedIn. I'm not going to go to my LinkedIn account particularly, but my LinkedIn account grew from about a year and a half ago. Many people have hundreds of thousands, six-figure followers, and you see those kind of celebrity status LinkedIn users. I'm nothing like that, but I'm quite happy with my just almost touching 30,000 followers at this point in time. And I must say, part of the reason, I'll be perfectly honest, that I'm not sharing my LinkedIn profile, I can go to it for a minute, but you're welcome to join me, of course, is that actually for the last 6 to 8 weeks, I haven't been particularly active. And the reason I'm sharing this is I think that is as important as anything else. And I think if I go back to what my daughter told me and my daughter's exclamation at me using so many devices, I think that having a short break now and again is healthy for us mentally, but also for our profile and for our use. So on this slide, you can see personalized plan. What is your plan? Do you have a plan? And you do need a plan. What would be the top 3 points in your plan? Where would you begin? And I'm going to take you through 1 or 2 ideas surrounding this. But it must be a plan specific to LinkedIn. Let's not confuse a plan with Facebook, a plan with Instagram, or any other Twitter accounts. And there's an important reason for this, because this professional platform is different. And duplicating can work to a point over different types of platforms, but it isn't suggested. And I come back to that a little bit later. Now, in terms of your own plan, some of you don't have a profile yet. Some of you have a profile, but maybe you don't use it or you haven't considered it too much yet. And some of you are clearly posting every single day and you are probably quite expert at it. But what we thought we would do at Suraasa, if you can bear with me for 2 minutes, if you wish in the next week, and there will be a deadline date, a week today. So by this time next week, if you share your LinkedIn profile with me, then I will share those, forward them to the marketing team, so I don't get the blame here. And the top 10 LinkedIn profiles we will feature on the Suraasa platform and community, which will undoubtedly grow your followers and an opportunity for you to really get going if you haven't already, and if you are growing already yourself, then maybe an opportunity for you to grow even further. If you want to pop to the LinkedIn page for Suraasa, then feel free. It is there. You just type in Suraasa to the LinkedIn profile and it will come up and you can join on there. But I would love how to share your LinkedIn profile. So what I will do actually is, before the end of this, I think one of the marketing team will share a couple of details on chat about how you should go about this. So there you go, Suraasa has popped up there. So checked out this LinkedIn page, and if again somebody from marketing can pop up there a couple of details and answer that question, how to share the LinkedIn profile, that will allow me to continue with other things. Thank you very much. But if you just want to copy a link to your profile, your LinkedIn profile, and email it to me at brian@suraasa.com, which you can see here, then that would be absolutely fine. Any questions, pop them in chat there. Okay, so let's begin in earnest then. If you noticed, I'm just going to go back because I forgot to say, You notice that I begin with personalized LinkedIn and end with personalized LinkedIn. So I'm going to return to the personalized part because really to personalize it, I think we need to consider the three key points that are on here. So the job opportunity, the visibility, and the networking. If you can consider those, then you will begin to personalize it. So I'm going to put a pin in the personalizing LinkedIn and return to that at the end. So I'm moving to job opportunity. The job won't come to you. Job hunting in this day and age is, some would argue, getting more complicated. Some would say getting easier. But one thing is for certain, your I was going to say behavior, and that is correct actually, but how you use social media is without doubt being looked at by employers. It is now a big part of the interview process, and it is now in education as well. It hasn't always been. I think that the corporate world was probably ahead of us in education in this sense, and companies were using LinkedIn and other forums, Twitter, etc., to look at before you were called for interview. Now schools are doing it just the same. So we do need to, but we know it. So let's turn it to our advantage. Let's promote it. Let's mention it in our CV. Let's use it to get that interview actually. So let's turn that on the head and let's be proud and be excited about any potential employer looking at our LinkedIn profile. And in actual fact, I would put a link in my CV for employers to view it. And I think that's the mentality and approach that we should be taking. Okay, there are 14 reasons that I want to share with you, and I will share with you, and you can take screenshots and they're quite helpful. But before I share them with you, I want you to see how many you get, because I said I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to offer a short assessment. It's a mark out of 14. I'm sure the mathematics teachers will turn it into a percentage for us. So I'm going to pause for a couple of minutes. Can you list and be honest, tell me how many you get, and then you can tick them off and you can gleefully tell me which ones I missed if you get more than 14. So I'm going to pause for a few minutes. List as many reasons or ways that LinkedIn can help you with job opportunity. If you want to pop them in chat, and caring is sharing, sharing is caring and all that jazz, if you want to pop them in chat, then that's fine, why not? I'm not being too serious with the grade. However, we will see who is competitive. Those people hiding their sheets from the person next to them in class. Okay, Miss Farah has been very kind and shared one on chat already. So there you go. You've got one for free, not from me. Acts like a connection between the employer. Yes, absolutely. It can be a bridge in some ways. Nor placement of job, easy to connect. Where are the surroundings of competitors? Sending job opportunities, notifications based on our search. Absolutely. New way our team to work with. Yep, some great ideas. And I must admit, there's some here that are not in my top 14. Connecting globally to recruiters, indeed. Digital resume, yes, absolutely. And that's a very good point, actually, which I don't touch on too much, but the digital resume is something else that I'm sure many of us are aware of that schools are asking for now. So having that profile or CV resume, whichever term you wish to use, as a digital format, and certainly if you join Suraasa or look at suraasa.com, then you have access to a free digital profile. So you can have a look at that, and I will share more details on that right at the end of this session. Enhance skills and filter opportunities. Yes, lots of things going on. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds more. Start to count them up. How many do you have in front of you? I won't ask for numbers yet. Don't type in any numbers yet. Let's see how many out of 14. Some people might have 20 out of 14, but I'll ask for that in about 15 seconds. There's some wonderful things going on chat. So for those of you who are looking at chat or got chat open, it might be worth a screenshot or two at some point. Mr. Abdul, thank you, is sharing the LinkedIn link. Super. Always great to network. Okay, let's have a bit of fun then. How many got 14? What did you get out of 14? So type on chat what you managed, how many you managed to link out of 14. Don't be shy, bit of fun, no shame. Get involved. 8 out of 14, well done. 8 out of 14. 8 is good. It's a good number, I think, in the time given, because it took me a lot longer to put these 14 together. I have to say that was slightly unfair of me. Anybody else wish to put a number up? How many did you achieve out of 14? How many do you have there? 10, 8, 4, 5. Okay, we will go, while people are popping the numbers up there, I shall go to the 14 that I got. You can tick off any that you have, and then at the end, I will invite anybody to share any that I missed. But I have to say, already in chat, there are a few ideas there which maybe will be very helpful. It's in 3 slides. It's over 3 slides, so you can take screenshots if you wish. I will pause between each. Okay. So, ways to use LinkedIn. First of all, keep your profile up to date. Keep your profile up to date. Sorry, if I could ask there not to be too many drawings going on the screen. Keep your profile up to date. As it said, more than 45,000 skills to choose from. So when you get to the point of adding skills on your profile, and it's fairly self-explanatory on there, and there is a help section. I'm not going to take you through every single detail of how to set up a LinkedIn profile, but there are many skills to choose from. Try not to add too many. I see LinkedIn profiles with so many skills, because the skills that you do choose, people can recommend you for those skills. And that does have an influence and an impact greatly on potential employers. So keeping your profile up to date, if you have a change in career, or if you have take a promotion, or you've done a course, or you have upskilled in any sort of way, then do add that skill to the LinkedIn profile. Be proud of that and share that with people who maybe you were on the course with or at the same institute with you, and they might like and encourage and endorse you. Be comprehensive about your current skills and objectives. Again, not too much. And I will go to my LinkedIn profile a little bit later just to share 1 or 2 points on this. But current skills and objectives and what you're aiming for. If your story is too busy, then it becomes confusing. If it's too little, then we don't know enough about you. There's a balance between using LinkedIn, and again, we'll look through 1 or 2 of these points a little bit later. Any recent experience that you've had, again, keeping your LinkedIn profile up to date, and I'll pick up on some facts and figures and how many times a week and some suggestions a little bit later. But highlighting experiences can be a fantastic way of boosting your profile and becoming more visible. And your headline. So it's not that this has to be changed too often, but certainly keeping your headline up to date and looking fairly current and present and in relation to what your profile states is quite important. 5 to 9. I won't read through all of these. If you are looking for a job, then you can let people know that you're available. You can do that in a couple of ways. There is, you can add it to your profile picture, and you can say that you're seeking employment, and that badge is available for you to add, or you can state it in your opening blurb at the top of the LinkedIn page, and I'll go to that a little bit later. Be careful who you are connecting with. You know, if you really want a first degree network, then connect to educators or whoever it is you're wanting to connect to. But you know, I suggest that you do have a quick glance at profiles before you add. Some people become too fixated with the number rather than the quality of the connection. Follow companies. There is wonderful array of company and opportunity and training on LinkedIn. So if you're interested in joining a school or a new place of work, a new institute, then look it up on LinkedIn and follow them. Research them, look at what they are, and that can be quite helpful in terms of interview preparation. Advanced search is really helpful. So again, I'm not going to go into too much technical detail at the moment, but feel free to look at the advanced search option. It's not essential when you're setting up, but for those of you who haven't used it yet, it does allow you to really go into more detail on those companies that you're very keen to explore or link to. Ask for an introduction. As one or two of you said, it's an opportunity for you to connect with potential employers. Jobs are advertised. So be proactive. If the mountain will not come to Mohammed, Mohammed must go to the mountain. So go to these institutes, be proactive, look at any job advertising, any particular company who is helping, and you can certainly look at Suraasa, and we will be having that fairly soon as well. And lastly, so the last 14. At this point, I would invite anybody who has any other important points to add to the 14. But the last 4, just to go through. Yeah, so look to college, university, look back, and make links there, people who know you, similar to Facebook in a way. Be more than a wallflower, as Viner suggests, be authentic, be current, post articles you write, videos you post, etc. Get involved in professional groups. So there are many groups going up in LinkedIn in education, many groups from around the world. That really is a chance to join professional groups from different curriculums, from different parts of the world, to explore, to find out more about different curriculum, share with colleagues from different parts of the world. And certainly for me in the last couple of years, that has been one of the most positive aspects of LinkedIn and my experience on LinkedIn, building many wonderful friends and colleagues from around the world, and receiving job offers as well. I can hear somebody's unmuted. I don't know if you want to share something or if you just hit the unmute button. Yeah, networking after business hours, obviously don't expect it to be too busy during a normal working day. However, it is a global phenomenon. So what is business hours for you might not be business hours for somebody in another part of the world. So I would use that last point fairly loosely, but something just to bear in mind. And yes, the penultimate point here, going back to point 13, it's a great place to research before you go for an interview, of course. So I don't know if there are any points that anyone wants to share additional to this. I am going to move on to a video in a minute that will hopefully give you an idea of what can happen. So the next bullet point then, online visibility. I'll let you read the quote. I quite like the quote. It's quite pertinent. It makes the point. So yes, there are many ways to say this, but networking, we do have to work, not net sit or net eat, but network. It does take a bit of work, and I'm going to share with you one person in education who I connected with quite early on, and I've been fascinated to see his growth throughout the time. And some of you may be familiar with this name. He's extremely proactive on LinkedIn. And how he has built his profile is quite astounding. I'm going to share a little video that is free on the public. You can watch at any time. But in this little activity here, let's have a vision. Let's jump to the end right now. So while we're viewing this video, can you consider your end goal at the moment, at this moment in time? What would your end goal be? What are you really aiming for? I'll play the video and let you watch for a couple of minutes while you're considering this. But this guy, Gavin McCormack, has really grown exponentially through a number of wonderful little approaches, which I'll share with you.
This is Sarah's moment.
Can I just check you can hear the sound now? I know it just came on halfway through. Could somebody...
Support women entrepreneurs at Flake Arabia.
Okay, sorry
Yes,
for the
yes,
advert.
it's audible. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm a school teacher and a school principal, and I've done this job for more than 20 years. Now, in those 20 years, there's one thing that I've learned, and it is that no matter what I'm trying to teach or who I'm trying to teach it to, there's always someone in every class a bit smarter than me. Now, this was evident a couple of weeks ago. I was on a bushwalk in the national park with a group of 7-year-olds, and I thought I spotted a Lancaster bomber in the sky. I said to the children, "Stop, everybody, look, it's a Lancaster bomber." One little boy popped his hand up and said, "Gavin, I think you'll find that's a C-19 Globemaster III. You can tell by the shape of the engines." And what that said to me was this little boy had a niche, he had a forte, he had a passion. And my job as the teacher was to take heed of that, observe it, and harness it, and build the curriculum around him, putting him at the center of his learning. Essentially taking the teacher away from the forefront and putting the child at the center of their own learning. Now, a few years ago, I was administering a NAPLAN test, which is the standardized test of Australia. I was walking down the aisles, I gazed over a little boy's shoulder, and tears were falling from his eyes onto the test paper. It was becoming very soggy and sodden. It was a very sad moment. He finished the test, and later on, I was thinking about those tears and where they came from. And I came up with the conclusion that when our policymakers and our politicians make new legislation or rules around rankings and comparing our students and comparing our schools, they end up as tears falling from a 9-year-old boy's eyes onto a test paper. And for me, that is not education. And I feel that as adults and as teachers, we need to stop thinking of our students or our children as empty vessels waiting to be filled up. When we look at the word education in Latin, go back to its etymology, it had two meanings. One meaning to train or to mold our students, but the other meaning to guide or to lead. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you went to a school similar to mine. We sat in rows, in silence. Mr. Johnson was at the front with his, his diagram on plate tectonics. We highlighted the key words, and if we remembered everything by Friday, well, that was a grade A. Now, when we only focus on the academics, we miss out on the essential skills, such as love, empathy, compassion, understanding. All of these things are missed.
So, if you're enjoying that, then feel free to have a look. He has a vision. Gavin McCormack has a vision. And I want to share with you another short video that lets you see how he came to use this vision to build his profile, not just build his profile, but to really become something of a global phenomenon. He built by now offering, he shares resources freely. He actually set up during COVID a lovely idea of story time. So once a week, I think it is, or no, actually, I think it's daily at about 7 o'clock, but it's recorded so you can watch anytime. He came up with the idea of just going on to his camera and reading a story, just reading a children's story for 5-10 minutes, and that's it. And he received messages, thousands of messages from different parts of the world, from different classroom teachers saying, my children are now asking telling me it's Gavin McCormack's story time. It's Gavin's story time. Can we stop and watch Gavin's story time? He shares freely, number one. But he does this with a clear vision. If anyone was to ask or know or has watched Gavin or read his post, you would know exactly what he is about. And it's absolutely clear throughout his LinkedIn profile. He believes very much in the point that he made at the end there, that education is about the empathy, the love, etc. Now, regardless of what you know, it's like marketing. Some people say on videos, when you're recording videos, always wear something noticeable. So I used to wear a waistcoat, for example, and I noticed that Gavin wears a waistcoat. Some people may say put a hat on, or when you post, do it with a coloured heart, or do it with something that's consistent all the way through. There's lots of little tricks to the trade along the way. But what is clear, however you do it, beyond the book cover, what is more important is what is behind the book cover and what is the content of the book. What is your content? What is it that you are trying to tell us? And that has to be absolutely clear. Now, how that can happen is this: brand identity. I'll just let you pause for a second to take in what I would like you to consider while we're looking at this short video. So, personal branding activity. So then try and consider, and even those who have a LinkedIn profile and are active on, maybe it's time to think, are you up to date? Are you current? Are you really delivering the message? Are you challenging? Are you joining? Are you manipulating LinkedIn as you can? So what is your speciality firstly? What can you offer? What's your unique selling point? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of you using LinkedIn? Now, in educational terms, branding might be quite a new phenomenon for some of us as teachers, thinking about branding ourselves. And I had never really thought about it, particularly to this extreme, certainly, until I started to use LinkedIn as much as I do now. So you'll be delighted to know I'm going to pause myself for a second, and we're going to skip to listen to Gavin talk about how he started to brand himself and where it grew from. It's 4 minutes, about 3.5 to 4 minutes. So I will let it run for that time, but no more, just to let you know.
Gavin, welcome to the podcast. This podcast is all about how to unbox your gift, how to turn that thing you love called a passion and turn that into a profession. Now, I've been...
Okay, so I'm just going to skip forward to the point where he talks about branding.
Wherever we are, whatever careers we do, personal brand has become very important. Who you are, yes, you're a teacher, yes, I'm a trainer, but the reputation that you have and the personal branding, what it's called in the marketplace, of how you represent what you do, what you believe about what you do, communicating that on social media. You've done that very well, because that's allowed you to even just increase and really just outreach your message to a greater audience, which is how I know about you. Can you just go into, yes, now you're in teaching, now you've realized Montessori is the path that you want to go and really serve. How did you develop your personal brand? What did you do to get your work out there so other people can know about what it is that you do?
So a good friend of mine who's a marketing kind of guru, we go running together. And quite a while ago, we were at a Christmas. I'd become a Montessori teacher, and I'd realized that the tactile. I'd done so much reading in my Montessori degree after I'd finished my main degree that I'd just learned about children from birth to 35 years old. This journey of Montessori apparently goes on forever. And I just discovered this new vision of what education and childhood is like, and where education begins. I used to think, school starts at 5 when you go to school. Before that, it's just playing around, and you play in the sand and pour water from one pot to another, and you get your hands wet. And it's all about. And I realized it's not about that. Though those times, that 0 to 6, those sensitive periods, they are so crucial. I had to stop myself from becoming a preacher to my friends who had children. Say, hey, by the way, you shouldn't be. And I thought, God, all my friends are going to hate me here because I'm not even a parent. So I've got to stop that. And I stopped doing that. But there were times when we'd go to family, not family, we'd go to friends' barbecues or picnics and whatnot, and I'd take along some Montessori materials just for fun. We'd have them out and all the kids would be round, and then it would just be happening. They'd all just be learning without even realize they were learning. And I'd go over to the barbecue and we'd be having a chat with a couple of parents, and they'd say, hey, what are those things you brought over there, those bricks and blocks? And I said, oh, well, that one over there is the pink tower, and this creates, a sense of, anyway. We went running a few weeks ago, me and my friend who was at that barbecue, and he said, the other day when we were at that barbecue and I saw what the children were doing, I said, oh yeah, it's pretty good. And he said, you know what you should do? He said, you should start your own YouTube channel. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you should record that kind of stuff one at a time, and you could be the go-to person from when people want to know about early childhood or how parenting at home and education at home. And I thought, that's not a bad idea. So I went home that day and I just quickly made a very terrible, shoddy, bad quality little video about something. I can't even remember what it was. And I put it online. And a few people engaged with it and said, oh, it's great. I'm going to make one of those at home and I'm going to try that out. And, I didn't really have a presence online at all. So it just grew from there. And I thought, I'm just going to continue down this route. I'm just going to keep giving it away. And I had to think really, really carefully about this. And I still stick by this today that, if you know your purpose, my purpose was, I know there's a lot of kids out there who could do with a bit of a hand on how education should look for them in terms of giving them a choice and some freedom. But in order to give them that freedom and choice, I need to talk to the adults who are in charge of them, their parents and their teachers. So what I'll do, I'll make materials for kids and give them away online, and I'll make guidance for parents and give that away online too. And if I tick all those boxes at the same time, then kids all over the world will be on the right track, and I won't even need to be there. So my purpose and my intention were clear, and then the impact that you have is obviously going to be the result of that. And then you get the feedback. I love this. This is great. I've shared this with my staff. After about 6 months, one lady in Bankstown, she wrote me an email saying, I've printed out every single statement that you've made on LinkedIn and made a booklet. And at school, we read it in staff meetings and we reflect upon what you say. I thought, oh my God, this is awesome. And I thought, I can't stop doing this. So I just, I had to be careful because you can't take over your life because
Okay, I shall pause there. You can feel free to have a look at that. In fact, I'll pop the link into chat for anyone who wishes to watch that further. But his journey is quite incredible, and he's one person who certainly stood out for me and stands out in LinkedIn in education terms. So if you're starting out and if you haven't joined Gavin, then I suggest that you send him a request or connect with him or follow him at least. So that's one for free to get you started as well. But what I think he makes quite clear is to understand your purpose. Have a purpose when you're posting. And I definitely did not have that initially. He definitely showed me how I should be doing this better at the beginning. So I'd like you to consider this guy, TJ, and if he is with us, because he sent me a message saying he would try to be, but I know he's very, very busy. TJ, if you're out there, I can't scroll through all the 100+ people who are here, but if you are there, I'd love you to unmute and say hi if you feel you can. But as said, he is a busy man. I will continue, and he may or may not join us this morning. So TJ approached me, and this takes me to my own experience of LinkedIn and how LinkedIn can work so well. After I reached so many thousands of followers, 5,000 or 6,000, I noticed that some people would contact me to join them for a podcast or a masterclass or something along those lines. And TJ was one of the earliest, and he was fantastic for me because he really, I wasn't sure what I was doing. And he is a perfect example. The reason I'm sharing TJ in particular is he's a perfect example of how to network, how to work at networking. Now, over COVID, TJ is in recruitment, as you can see from this page, education recruitment in the UK. And he decided during COVID that he wanted to share a message. He knew what the purpose was. He knew his purpose. And his message he turned into a podcast called The Teacher's Point of View. And he contacted me, and he was starting out with this podcast. And we were both feeling a way into LinkedIn, into media in this sense. And so he made me consider what my story was. And if we look at these points that I would like you to consider now as well, and if you're starting out especially, what is your story? What's your purpose? What is your identity? Those three things are very different. The story should be like the long-term plan, the overview. The story should be seen not as a story, but from the different segments available to you on LinkedIn, from the profile, from the posts, from the videos, from the variety, from the articles that you're writing, etc. And don't worry if you're not writing articles, you don't need to. The purpose, know your purpose. Is it to secure a job? Is it to network? It might be both. There might be a greater purpose. Is it to brand yourself? Is it to promote yourself to a better position, to greater opportunity? Are you moving into the international market, for example? Point 4, I think, is very important because this is what's looked at most. When people are looking at you, certainly for a job, so potential employers, they will look closely at the values, the skills, and the character that comes through from your LinkedIn profile. The last point, I really encourage you to have a bit of fun. And if you're not having fun anymore, take a little break. And I did. And I needed to because it was taking up a bit too much time. And I have enjoyed the break. But it is important to keep it consistent if you want it to be effective. So have fun, take a little break, but be careful how you manage that. Now, this is just a short clip on how TJ made things happen, how he networked. Now, this is really taking it to an extent.
My name is Ariel, and I just started my first job as a project manager.
This was really taking it to a new extreme for me. I'd never considered making videos myself or running podcasts or masterclasses or anything like that. Nowhere near it. The most I'd done, I remember how nervous I was posting my first post, actually. But this is what he did. This is how he went about it. This was his very early teacher's point of view. But it really grew from here, and he grew from here. And it just shows you, the reason I'm sharing this is you don't have to be an expert in videoing and video making. You don't have to be an expert in recording. Now, of course, some people will tell you, especially in marketing, that there are certain tips of what position to have the camera, lighting, how much to speak. Maybe you should have an audio track as well. What are they called? The text at the bottom running through. And those are all wonderful tips. And if you want to look at that, then you can Google it. And there are apps to help you as well. But just have a look at how it started. It's this simple. It's quite crude, but it's. I think it gives encouragement to those of us who maybe haven't done this.
When I was a student, I'd write long essays that I'd work on for days.
Okay, that's.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of The Teacher's Point of View. Really excited to have Brian Coulter on with us today. I mean, he's had a remarkable journey in teaching, and he's obviously had a lot of transformation in the last year in his career, which he's going to talk to us about. And in particular, he's been on this journey with pedagogy and the way that sort of education should be taught. I mean, he's obviously done a lot of research into this. He's got a massive fan base now with 22,000 plus followers. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the secret is, but But please, Brian, if you could introduce yourself and kind of explain where you're at with education and your perception on education.
Thank you very much indeed. First of all, I have to say what a privilege it is to be here. We've had some discussions. I've watched some of the other podcasts. Fantastic guests. We've just talked. Okay, we do not need to listen to this. My point is that this person put together some videos. Now you can see even my background is open. There are many things that I would change now about this opening. And TJ, if he's not with us just now at the moment, I kind of hope that he would be here with us. But his videos went on, and if you look at the teacher's point of view, if you Google this, teacher's point of view, QTS, then you will find many wonderful podcasts from amazing educators from around the world. And that was a big lesson for me as well, not just in growing myself and how to present myself and what options there are out there, but also the networking aspect. You know, I met so many people through just that one podcast and joining podcasts, and there are free podcasts and masterclasses galore on LinkedIn. So please consider that. Please consider the masterclasses. Whoever's drawing on the screen, if you can kindly not do that, that would be wonderful. Okay, so there's some arrows going on. Maybe I'm being presumptuous. Oh no, okay. Okay, I don't know how we can stop people drawing on here. That's never happened to me before. So if
there is annotation, so from there in the setting you can just disable that annotation so that the one who is doing that scribbling, it will be avoided.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll move on just now and hopefully it won't happen, but I will do that. Thank you so much. So your purpose, your story. Let's move on to the last point, being aware of time, global network, how to grow. Now, this last part, I'm going to go through at a reasonable speed. I'm not going to talk too much. It is based on slides, but I think these slides are really helpful. So please, if you want them, please be prepared to take screenshots of these slides. There's about 10 slides, 9 or 10 slides. There are some graphs for you to take care of. Yes, so those asking questions about sharing PowerPoint and sharing links and things, I'll definitely look at those once I'm finished. So please don't worry about that. How to grow your global network then. And I think deliberately I'm keeping this dry and straight to the point because I think they are just important points to take on board. And if anyone wants to share any more as we go through, then please feel free. So number one, and this is all researchable, of course it is. You can Google this and find out for yourself. But I've picked out some key points for you as we go. So for those of you setting up or growing, feel free to take screenshots of this. And this is not research done by myself. This is done by companies that I researched to find this information out. So this is not my information. This is information from somebody much more trustworthy. Post regularly, not too much. The recommendation is about 2 to 3 times a week, no more than 30 times a month for optimal engagement. And again, so many overdose with the posting and don't consider really what to post. As I said right at the beginning, some of the posts that will get you attention are the simplest posts. Now, it's not that you want attention all of the time because it's about you growing your profile. So of course you can post an education, you can post an article, you can post a video, you can post, you can share, etc. And I'll come on to that in one of the other slides. But when you do post, try to keep it fairly varied, but true to your purpose. I think that the most successful LinkedIn profiles are those where it is clear the purpose and the direction and the message and the story of the individual who is posting. And that's how you get connected as well, how people want to connect for you because they understand clearly what message it is that you're trying to say. Trying to post in the mornings is helpful. trying to post in the mornings is quite helpful, and then you can in the evening, so as a personal little tip, in the evening then you can maybe answer 1 or 2 comments, you can click the likes, you can react, because that obviously helps, and if anyone likes or reacts to comments post, then that encourages and builds followers as well. This is a little graph just to back up what you said. So in terms of posting and the frequency of posting, the average engagement is clearly much higher when it's averaging 10 to 30 posts a month. And actually 50 plus you can see here is the lowest amount. So that tells its own story. Avoid using lots of automation. Okay, it can be a time saver, but limit the number of posts to no more than 30 times a month is key, regardless of what you're doing. It can be damaging to your visibility. People will just switch off and disconnect. Now this one, it took me a while to do this. It really did. Post my first video. I remember it very well. I do look back at it once or twice and have a little bit of a laugh at it. But after I started posting a few videos, I did notice the difference in connection that was being made. I'm not saying it was 94% more viewing, but certainly it does make a difference. If you are brave enough, practice it, do it on your phone, have a look at it, and then take the plunge. There's so much advice on LinkedIn actually about using videos. So yeah, just getting on with it. And LinkedIn does a wonderful thing now where if you upload a series of visuals, as it says, as a document, then it can display it as a carousel, which is quite a nice option if you don't want to do the video. The 4-1-1 rule. The 4-1-1 rule. Now, I share a diagram on the next screen, but yes, not me, but this is suggested for LinkedIn, for Twitter, but can be applied to LinkedIn. So as it says, for every one self-serving post, you should repost one relevant post and share 4 pieces of relevant content written by others. If you're really interested in growing growth-wise and numbers-wise, this is helpful. And the more connections and followers that you make, I suppose, the richer the dialogue in your post. And this is a little screenshot that just reaffirms what I have just said. We'll be finished in about 8 to 10 minutes, incidentally, just to let you know. Don't be too salesy, fairly standard, fairly straightforward. Don't be too salesy. Try not to post directly about your product. It can feel like an advert and turn people away. Go live. Try it. Give it a go. I've seen some wonderful posts where people have just said, I'm trying this for the first time, no idea what it looked like, etc., etc. Just be honest, be yourself. I think being yourself can be one of the most engaging aspects. Be personable. And it suggests at the bottom there how much more engagement you're likely to receive. And this reaffirms what I just said. Tagging, really important, very important to tag, encouraging engagement, but be strategic who you mention. Try not to over tag. I did that myself at the beginning and tagged a series of people. But as it says, it can look a bit spammy, like you're spamming everybody. So please do tag, but important influencers or colleagues, connections, employees, etc. LinkedIn specific content, I said something along these lines right at the beginning. If you do have varied accounts on different platforms, social media, be it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., try to create original posts for each platform, and certainly on a professional platform, try and keep these posts professional. There's a big debate always on LinkedIn. It keeps on reappearing. I'm sure 1 or 2 people can support me with this, where some people bemoan the fact that LinkedIn is becoming a bit like Facebook with the types of posts that are posted, but I think it's about variety. It is becoming a bit of a hybrid. hashtags. Now, there's a screenshot that comes up on the next slide that shows you where to do this, but hashtags, adding hashtags, as it says, help you to get discovered. So I think especially for those who are starting out, hashtagging can be very, very, very important, and you will find it here. So if you go to the Discover More option on your screen, but as I say, there's a help button on LinkedIn, so really you can ask anything there when you are setting it up. And the last but not least slide is you being analytical of yourself, so using the analytics. And the way to do this is click on the Me icon, your Me icon at the top of your LinkedIn homepage, and then Manage, and then Posts and Activity. And if you go there, take a screenshot of this if you wish, you will see your recent posts, the analytics, the icons, the numbers, who's following, what they're following, which posts are being followed. You can feature certain posts to highlight the posts that are being followed by a lot of people. And that can be a nice highlight for potential employers as well. So that really draws to a conclusion. I've got one or two bits of information to share in the last couple of slides. So thank you to those who have stayed with me for a little over an hour now. I am about to draw things to a conclusion, but personalize by linking in. Plan it, think about your purpose, what works for you, and have fun with it. Now, the having fun with it, I think, is important and comes through in your LinkedIn posts. So enjoy it. Don't let it take over your life. If you want to look at somewhere for a little bit of help, then I have put the website at the bottom, topresume.com. And then career advice, 14 ways to leverage your LinkedIn profile. So the information I got right at the beginning, or the first point, was drawn from here. So you can have a look at that website. That will get you started. If you wish to email me, if you're really struggling, or if you want to look at any practical points, then my email is coming up again. If you want any other advice, then I'm going to share the Suraasa profile again, the platform that we have at the end. But there's plenty to find on the internet regarding personalizing, how to personalize, and how to grow. So if you wish to ask any questions, if you wish to discuss, then suraasa.com, you can ask our mentors at Suraasa, or join us on our LinkedIn page or our Facebook page for that matter. If you want some individual pointers, then you can email me. My email is at the bottom, Brian@Suraasa. And don't forget, I said right at the beginning, if anybody wants to share their LinkedIn profile, we will be looking at those over the next week. So until a week today, and we will take the top 10 and we will profile those, feature those on our Suraasa community. And hopefully that will give you a kickstart or even more of a push with your profile and with your LinkedIn visibility around the globe. And lastly, if you want to listen to any of our masterclasses, then this is one place that you can listen to that. I'm very grateful for you staying. As said at the outset, that was a masterclass more than a workshop. Hopefully there have been some points that you are able to take away, but we are here continually if you wish to ask anything more. I'm going to look at chat now and answer any questions as best that I can. So I will stay online for another 5 to 10 minutes and see if there are any questions that I can answer. But I wish everybody a very good Friday afternoon. Thank you, and evening as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully see you again for a masterclass or workshop in the near future. Okay, so I'm just having a look at chat now. Thank you so much for all the thanks. That is very heartening indeed. That will certainly make my Friday evening quite enjoyable. So thank you so much for the kind words. Really appreciated. I'm just scrolling up to see if there's any questions. So some questions have been answered already by the team. So thank you, Suraasa team, for that. I think that links have been shared as well for videos, etc. Okay, so not too many questions coming up. I need to sup some water. I'm getting a little tongue-tied, talking too much. Yes, Miss Anvi, Avneet, sorry. Yes, indeed. How to make a perfect resume. It's a wonderful place, I think, in the current day and age that we live to put together a resume together. If you are looking to build a resume, then you can also look at the Suraasa website, speak to a mentor. Please go and speak to a mentor, and you can have access to there as well, an online resume that will help you build there. So I'll just go to the previous slide. So if you wish to contact Suraasa.com, and then when you go there, if you click on a mentor, and there will be a mentor there to guide you and to help you with writing resume or how you might do that, or even if you want to uptake, we have launched a boosting employability module, which takes you through everything from writing CV, writing resume, preparing resume, to interviewing, and that culminates with a mock interview run by one of our trainers that is personalized to your need. So that is open to everybody. You do not have to be studying any of our courses or our modules or our certificates. For that, you can simply contact Suraasa.com, speak to the mentor, click on the mentor button, and that will take you to a mentor. Ask about boosting employability, and then have a look at that program. It's a short program that takes you through everything from resume and how to create an online profile as well. Yeah, I mean, if you wish to become a mentor at Suraasa, then if you want to email me, so my email address is there. So anybody who's interested in that, there are actually one or two adverts. We have posted some job positions that are available at Suraasa just now. They are on LinkedIn. So we are using it as well, of course. So feel free, if you can't find those, but if you go to our LinkedIn page or Facebook page, then you will certainly find those adverts. But if you can't find that, then as I said, drop me an email. But have a quick look. You should find them quite easily, and you will be guided on what jobs are available and how to go about that. Yeah, my email address is there. So it is on the screen just now, brian@suraasa.com. Thank you. Suraasa has just posted that as well on chat. Yeah, information about the courses. If you go to Suraasa.com and click on the mentor button, then they will definitely take you through any course you wish, from teaching certificate, which is a 10-month module, to individual modules, to employability modules, tutoring modules, all sorts. The tutoring one is coming up. That's not quite launched yet, so a sneak preview on that one. But we are devising and putting together a very exciting program on tutoring as well. So always thinking, always evolving. It's a fun place to be. Okay, there's still quite a few people with me, so I'm just seeing if there's any other questions. I know the Suraasa team are working hard answering those as well. Thank you, Math Geeks. Yep, certainly good to share, great to network. Thank you for posting that. Okay, it's 15 minutes after the hour, so we've been going for about an hour and a quarter. I do thank you so much for joining us and for staying to the bitter end as well. I'm going to pop off in 1 minute unless there's any other questions. So last call for any other questions, and then I'm going to go and relax for a couple of hours if that's okay as well. Thanks for all the points. Thanks for sharing on chat, and I look forward to seeing these LinkedIn posts and profiles. Look forward to seeing, I hope to see lots of LinkedIn profiles sent to me in email. I'm really excited. I hope I get some ideas as well, which I will undoubtedly. So that'd be great to see some wonderful LinkedIn profiles sent to me on my email address, brian@suraasa.com.